It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad-ometer, featuring Ben Conowitz and Nate Laux. And here's the podcast.
Howdy, howdy, guys.
You started off a little British there.
Oh, it's 2023, isn't it? And we're here doing our SNL podcast. All right.
All right, governor.
Who's got a quid for me opinion, eh?
It's a sticky wicket.
Oh, this wicket's all sticky with honey.
10 wickets to 1.
Oh, tea time.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the
was
10 to 1
Stewie
podcast.
We like to talk about Saturday Night Live here. We have been reviewing new episodes and recapping them for about a year and a half now. We started with season 47, and now we're in the middle of season 48, the first episode of 2023, and it is hosted by Aubrey Plaza, actress who made a name for herself on Parks and Recreation, has since turned into quite the versatile actress. She's gotten some acclaim recently for an indie movie called Emily the Criminal.
Did you see that?
Yes, and it's very good. She's very good in it as well. And she was also made waves recently because she was part of the cast of the second season of The White Lotus,
which I loved,
on HBO.
Did you watch the...
I haven't watched that yet.
Okay. Did you watch the first season?
No, I haven't watched any of it yet.
Okay, it's great.
So yeah, Aubrey Plaza is hosting for her first time, but this isn't her first brush with Saturday Night Live. As she talks about in her monologue, not only was she part of the famous NBC Page program, but she did work as an intern for SNL for a year, working in the set design department. So yeah, there's actually even at least one sketch where you can see her as an uncredited extra during a Target Lady sketch with Kristen Wiig back in the day.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien has a couple of these as well, where he's in the background of a sketch because I think they just ask or maybe tell, hey, we need 20 people to be in this, background.
In a similar tangent, actually, in one of my 30 Rock rewatches, you can see Aubrey Plaza as a background character in an early episode before she was even on Parks and Rec.
I also love that.
As a page.
I don't remember if actually now I'm forgetting if she was a page or if she was just a background in one of the scenes.
Okay. I also love that, like, Aubrey Plaza is like, oh, I was part of the Page program, and then we're like back in the day when Kristen Wiig was the Target Lady, not like I'm expecting to be like 1977 when I used to work here. These days we're
Chevy
old.
Chase
yeah, exactly. He was
yeah.
a dick, but now it's like. This is 10 years ago.
Well, as the viral, I don't know if it's a Facebook post or a tweet or whatever that I saw said, if Austin Powers were made today, it would be about a spy who worked in 1993. So
yeah.
Oh,
it's
boy.
Put that in your pipe
nuts.
and smoke it.
Yeah, it is nuts.
So yeah, Saturday Night Live, first episode of 2023, kicking off with Aubrey Plaza. And how did the cold open go, Nate?
So Cold Open was NFL on Fox Cold Open, which was the #1 trending video on YouTube today. So apparently people enjoyed watching it. Written by Colin Jost and Streeter Seidel. Fox Sports hosts Kenan Thompson, Mikey Day, James Austin Johnson, Devin Walker, and Molly Carney interview Representative George Santos, played by Bowen Yang. Bowen Yang is going to be busy. As long as George Santos is in Congress, Bowen Yang is going to have a lot to do.
And I'm torn because, man, it would be great to see him keep doing this character, but it would also be great if George Santos got the fuck out of Congress. Jesus Christ.
This was interesting. It wasn't necessarily a political cold opening, but it was. I mean, you brought George Santos in there.
It was weird.
It was kind of weird.
It felt very shoehorned to put him. I mean, and I don't have a problem with Bowen Yang actually, that's great. But there was one vibe going on, and then they did. I was like, oh, cool, no political. Oh shit, they did it. Okay, wow, weird.
But at the same time, I don't know. I think I liked the way they did this political bit better than most of what they normally do for the cold open because they put a more fun spin on it. At the same time, it didn't. This particular version of it didn't work very well, and I think a big part of it was, first of all, they had some technical issues, obviously, in the control room because they had some cuts at the wrong time. But second of all, the timing of the delivery just felt off throughout the sketch. Molly Carney was especially not on her game.
No,
for
and
this
Mikey
one.
Day was kind of pausing a lot, waiting for like something that never came.
Yeah, it was.
So I don't
it
know
was
if somebody
really
missed a line or something.
Yeah, between this and we'll get to it in a second, the timing of some of the stuff in the monologue, it kind of like set the stage for like a really stilted and like disjointed, where like it was both a matter of like timing and poor delivery, where like it genuinely caused some jokes to go flat, and then there was also just some jokes that were flat.
They're not good jokes.
Yeah.
It's weird for me with the George Santos things because typically what I like is when they take something that is funny or weird or odd from a person, a real life person, and then they push it to the absurd. well, everything in George Santos's life is already absurd, right? And so when the lies that they were saying, I'm like, well, that could be a real lie that George Santos told,
Right?
And so it's for me, it's hard to be funny then because it's like, oh no, that very well could have been a thing.
We can talk about this a little bit more, but I'm jumping slightly ahead here. The Miss Universe sketch is clearly based on what really happened, and I hadn't seen any of the things online. So Bailey and I saw that sketch, and we didn't understand it. Much like if you don't know what's going on in politics, it feels like, okay, this is shoehorned in a little bit. I don't understand if you don't really know what's going on in the political sphere, you wouldn't know that some of that stuff is not made. Like, again, this is so true to life. You know,
it was absurd what he was saying, but most of it could have been true. Was it
really something that actually happened, and they're just repeating it?
Yeah,
or is it actually made up?
Yeah. It is. The premise, I think, Brad, you had mentioned that the premise wasn't a bad premise to do a cold open in. There was just, again, sometimes everything works fine. The jokes are fine. It just doesn't hit the way it should.
They cut over and so like, hey, blah, 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 Terry Bradshaw, we should have somebody comb your hair.
And his hair wasn't messy.
His hair was fine.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand
that.
Look
like Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, like what the? Like I thought that maybe they were going to cut away.
Yeah, and then it's going to be sticking out everywhere. Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff I don't get.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Moving on, Aubrey Plaza's monologue, which again was number 5 on YouTube trending, written by Neil Casey, Mike DeCenzo, Jake Nordwin, with an assist from Rosebud Baker. First-time host Aubrey Plaza talks about her demeanor, how she's beaten President Biden as the most famous Delawarean.
Delawarean?
Yeah, including a pre-taped message from the president, which I've got a quiz for you about this, and a tour of the stage, cameo by former SNL cast member and Plaza's Parks and Rec co-star Amy Poehler. I want to ask you guys a question. This is from the SNL Network on Twitter. I encourage you to follow the SNL Network. They're a great Twitter follow. President Biden's appearance marks the first time since 1976 that a sitting president appeared on SNL. Who was that president in 1976?
That would be Richard M. Nixon.
I'm going to say Jimmy Carter.
Well, the people come to us for our hot takes on SNL, not history. It was Gerald Ford. All right.
Gerald Ford.
Gerald Ford.
All right.
I will say, okay, so again, because of the blending of things that happen in the real world and then parody, I thought that maybe that Joe Biden thing wasn't specifically for SNL. I just thought it was something like a pre-tape. He did something like, maybe in a speech and they just cut it. So that was literally taped for SNL?
Yeah, I think so.
As far as I can tell, yeah.
I thought that's like part of a longer speech he was giving about like, and a joke maybe about like, the most famous Delaware person, and they just took that for SNL.
No, and also it wasn't all that funny. I mean, it was interesting to see Joe Biden.
Yeah, it was kind of just a funny random thing.
A random thing. But
again, it's like
the whole thing about White Lotus.
We're blending reality so much now, and they're doing these hot takes that are just repeating the real world. That, again, I didn't get that necessarily because I'm like, oh, that's probably taken from something. Oh, no, wait, that's for SNL. Holy shit. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Good for him.
I do love, just because I'm such
Am I just dumb, guys?
Well,
I mean, here and there.
Thanks for your honesty, honestly.
As an SNL fan, though, I do always love.
Hold on, Nate. You didn't really.
I don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Normally, when Brad says something kind of truthful and mean, Nate will say like, "Oh, buddy, hey, no."
But did you notice I was trying to move on?
You were
quickly.
No, exactly, and again, that's the more concerning part.
I love you not because of your massive brain.
Whoa. Okay, I'm learning a lot today. Okay, moving on. Please, please.
Can we please move on? On monologues, I always love it when they show backstage stuff. That is for me.
Yeah.
And SNL on their Twitter page and their YouTube page did this thing this week. I don't know if they've ever done it before. It's sponsored by T-Mobile, where they actually start streaming. I don't know if you guys watch this. They start streaming like 4 minutes before the show starts. And so it's really interesting. I mean, it is a busy stage and a busy set up until 15 seconds before they go live.
Yeah.
They're moving stuff. It is chaotic.
It used to be that you had Abraham Lincoln with the llama and the Rockettes in the back.
Yeah, nobody saw those, I don't think.
No, I mean like back in the day, right?
I know, but people were complaining about that.
The llama has passed on. That just happened.
Is that true?
I'm not joking. I think I read like last year the llama actually passed on.
I mean, there's other llamas they can get, right?
I mean, I don't know. I think that I'm going to have to, sorry, listeners, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to look this up, but I'm pretty sure a very long-standing member of that backstage thing had passed on whether or not it was the actor that played Abe Lincoln
Yeah.
or the llama, but something. And we saw only the two Rockettes or the dancers tonight, not Abraham Lincoln and the llama.
They've been doing some assorted behind the scenes stuff during the season because they've also been doing like time lapses.
I love
of
those.
certain, like building sets for sketches and things like that.
SNL social media stuff is getting better and better.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
mean,
great.
they're smart to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to engage your listeners. Like I'm naked a lot on our YouTube page, and that's it's getting traction.
But so it's the backstage tour of SNL is an infrequent but recurring thing that hosts have done.
I took that tour, by the way.
Have you really been there?
Yep.
The real tour?
Yep.
Oh, really? That's cool.
I told you about that. You forgot? That's cool. You get to go sit in the seats.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I've heard when you're in there, it
fascinating.
seems
It's
a lot
tiny.
smaller.
It's
than
tiny.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
super tiny.
guys, it's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to describe how small and what the magic they work at. Also, packed to the gills in that place with storage.
Mhm.
The rafters, the walls, everything has. They don't want to throw anything away because they know they're going to need it.
Now, we've heard through the rumor mill that Lauren's a big fan of this podcast. So, Lauren, if you want to get us tickets, we would love to come see you, and then we will do a podcast with you.
It's you know what? It's the only thing left on my bucket list, and not because I've done a lot of things, but I've just limited my bucket list.
Yeah.
So this monologue, I didn't think was particularly great, and part of it is because, and she addressed this in her monologue, is that she has a voice where even when she is saying something sincere, she sounds sarcastic.
Yeah, I agree.
And her real life delivery, it is missing something that makes her sound sincere, even when she is being sincere.
She's a sociopath.
So when she was doing this whole tour, I was like, this sounds like she's faking everything.
She hates this right now.
Yeah, like this is awkward.
Like, dreams do come true.
And on top
Don't believe it.
On top of that, there just was some really bad jokes sprinkled throughout, like that skeleton bit with that hidden closet.
I took a note there. I'm like, that was a terrible.
Dead silence.
And she looked into the closet, looked at camera, and kind of thought for a second. That wasn't worth it.
The Keenan stuff made me laugh. In that,
I
looked it up.
Been there so long.
That Keenan actually was there when she was.
No, I'm waiting for it since 2004.
Great. But yeah, it just felt very awkward. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I mean, so
I did like at least. I think that that there were other pages in the sketch, and the actual set building crew was there.
Of course,
and those are real pages.
Yeah,
They're fake pages. And I do like that because she came from that world. She definitely wanted to, have that be part of it. And that's very sweet, even though it's not super funny. I still liked it.
Shout out to the set designers that were there.
Yeah.
Akira Yoshimura, Keith Raywood, and Joe DiTullio, who have been there, I think, for years and years and years.
And he calls it the wrong name on purpose, and he's not an actor, so just the delivery wasn't great, but of course it's awesome.
Yeah.
Moving on, Miss Universe, written by Mike DeCenzo, Chloe Feynman, Heidi Gardner, Jake Norwin, and Sierra O'Sullivan.
If you, like me, watched the sketch, but you didn't know
let me get through the description real quick. All right, the Miss Universe contestants played by Heidi Gardner and Ego Nwodum, Chloe Feynman, Punky Johnson, Sarah Sherman, Molly Carney, Aubrey Plaza scream all of their bizarre answers, much to the chagrin of the host, Kenan Thompson. Cameos by the Property Brothers and Tony Hawk. Ben, get on with it because I think you're going to make a good point here.
Like me, if you have not seen the source material, you're not going to understand the sketch. If you've seen the source material, you're at least going to understand it. You might not still think it's funny because even after seeing it online and what this was based on, it wasn't the best sketch ever. However, at least I understood it. But this is such a small pocket of the internet that they were focused on. I'm not sure that, 50% of America, 60%, 75% have not seen what this is based on. So is it worth it to do this?
Well, the video went viral, and SNL has done a lot of sketches based on stuff that's gone viral online.
I'm saying, is that smart?
I mean, it's not bad because especially nowadays when most of SNL's large viewing numbers come from YouTube, that's their audience now, essentially. That's who they're really going for. SNL has always gone for the younger demographic.
Sure.
And even though there are older people who watch it, they're hitting their sweet spot with it. And honestly, I think that even someone like you, even not seeing it, the sketch still does have a funny presence because of what they're doing. I liked this sketch personally. I thought it was pretty good, even though it was a one-note joke. I felt like the variation between how they yelled, what they yelled, and how fast-paced it was, and especially that I'm so glad it was only a 3 minute, 20 minutes, 3 minute, 20-second sketch because it didn't overstay its welcome. They kept it going really fast, and it was funny enough, and everyone was good enough at what they were doing that I was okay with it.
After seeing the actual clip online, the Aubrey Plaza as France freaking nailed it. I mean, it's exactly what it sounded like. It was horrible.
But everyone else was so funny too. Chloe Feynman doing Albania was funny.
It was
Molly
all good.
Carney, oh my God, when she said dead.
dead.
Sorry, did you say dead?
Skydiving accident, sir.
What?
Yeah, and then the callback to the skydiving thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she's gonna do for her talent
Yeah,
portion.
it's so good.
That's funny.
And
That's
I don't
funny.
know why you guys thought you needed to say your talents.
Yeah, why would you do that? Also, I will say something might be going on with the hair and makeup department. This was the second time that I looked at Kenan Thompson's forehead. Like, is nobody blending anymore? Like in the NFL one, you can see the dark line on his forehead, and in this one too. Guys, blend it a little bit more. Just if you're listening.
Bowen Yang had the same thing with the I think it was in the Weekend Update.
They got a new
George,
blender, a new forehead blender at the show.
There was some issues there. All right, moving on. Pre-tape, The Black Lotus, written by Neil Casey, Ego Nwodim, and Brian Tucker. The Staff, played by Ego Nwodim, Kenan Thompson, Punky Johnson, with Jennifer Coolidge, played by Chloe Fineman. They finally got that Jennifer Coolidge in there.
Oh, finally.
As well as a cast of characters, Aubrey Plaza, Devin Walker, Michael Longfellow, Sarah Sherman, Heidi Gardner, Marcelo Hernandez, and Andrew Dispukes, Bowen Yang. Redo some of the White Lotus stuff under the premise of Black Lotus, played by black characters. I am a fan of the White Lotus. I've seen all of the episodes. So this hit me. This was great. They actually take like direct stuff from the show. So if you're a fan of this show, you got everything that they were doing. You two don't watch White Lotus.
I don't even know what the premise is of White Lotus.
Was it funny to you still?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, it worked fine, but it didn't work for me perfectly, not because I haven't seen the show, because I know what the show is about. I get the vibe of it, and I knew they were recreating stuff from the show. For me, I just felt like it went on too long, and it was the same thing
joke,
over and over again. Like I get it, especially when it comes to the bumpers. They just kept I feel like they did a thesaurus search for foolishness, and they kept finding synonyms for that, and they were putting it in. It's like, oh, but they're not putting any more of this nonsense. They're not messing around right here. And so fine, I get it. Cut the sketch by a minute and let's get out of here, because I felt like it overstayed its welcome. I appreciated the concept and it was an amusing premise, but it just went on for too long.
They still have the same issue where I really do feel like they're pot committed and they've got this sunk cost with set design when they do the pre-tapes. There's so much that goes into building this entire set and everything. They're like, we need to have this go on for longer so we get the value out of how long this took to put on. I see it over and over again.
This is a pre-tape, so I assume they did this on location somewhere, right? Because this was looked like it was at an actual hotel.
Yeah. So they're like, we can't waste this opportunity. We've got all this to play with, so let's keep going. And it's like, you don't need to.
I actually really liked this one because, again, I am a fan of the White Lotus, but I really love the show. Aubrey Plaza is great in this. And
Aubrey Plaza,
it did go long, but every time it went long, it was because it was taking a shot-for-shot scene from the White Lotus.
Gotcha.
So as a fan of the show, it was like, oh, they're going to put this in. They're going to throw this in.
You know what? And again, if you watch the show and you
so I get though why, and they probably could have, even for me, could have ended it a little bit earlier. But and
but if they're having fun with the show,
anytime you get Ego and Kenan in there doing their thing, it's funny to me. All right, moving on. The next sketch was Taboo, written by Mikey Day, Schrader Seidel. A couple, played by Aubrey Plaza and Mikey Day, list all of the toxic things about each other, with Kenan Thompson, Ego Nwodim, Heidi Gardner, and Michael Longfellow as the couple's friends. Do you guys like couples game nights as a whole?
Yes, but we don't play them like every episode of SNL that's ever had a couples game night type thing. It's always the couples on a team, and we never do that when we play game night. It's always we just make random teams with our friends.
And it's not always couples either.
Well, yeah, it's just like, and so I do love game nights. I really do.
Yeah.
But it's never Bailey and I versus, Brad and Brittany or anything like that. It's just a fun thing. I like Taboo. I like Catchphrase. I like playing all these games. This sketch to me was very good. I really, really liked it.
Yeah, I loved the sketch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like the enthusiasm that kept going between
Aubrey Plaza was the MVP of this sketch for sure.
Yeah.
She was incredible.
It was just so funny. Just the because every punchline, even though it's a one note premise essentially, but it's the creativity behind how they describe what they're saying and how outlandish it is and how just twisted and weird it is.
This is also something that is just logistical that makes it better for me. Is that they positioned Michael Longfellow to the right.
Yep.
And then so they had the person reading looking at that way which on the cue cards, obviously. But to me, in my head, I was able to connect. Oh, the person isn't looking up to read the cue cards; they're looking at the time.
Okay,
and they're back and forth. Like so, like it's still it
That's a
grounded.
good point. I didn't think about that.
It grounded the sketch to me. Like, oh, it's okay. You're just looking at the time. Instead, so it didn't take me out of it as much.
It did take me out of it. It bothered me actually. Because,
you've never looked at the timer when you're playing a game, Nate?
No, but what bothered me is actually the whole episode. I thought again, as much as I love Aubrey Plaza, because I really do. We've had a couple episodes now this season with some hosts that have done a great job of, I think, knowing the material.
Like almost you don't even need to read the cue cards.
And I felt Aubrey, again, maybe because she was nervous, maybe because of the moment was big for her because she has that history with SNL, was tied to the cue cards more than most of the other hosts this season. And I actually noticed it. This sketch, I noticed it because she seemed to be looking there. Now, you're right. I think the whole idea was, if she's looking that way, it looks like she's looking at Michael Longfellow.
I mean, that's probably a little bit of it. That's maybe something to, but that's good blocking, staging, whatever you want to call it. That's a good idea. Also, when they had to switch to like Mikey Day, okay, it's my turn now, and I'm going to look at the guy with the timer. Like, so again,
but there was a couple jokes that I thought, because she was reading them, almost missed because her timing wasn't perfect in there.
It wasn't great. Also, though, I will say,
but I love this sketch. But
I don't. So again,
that was my only complaint.
I'm going to disagree because I feel like the unhinged nature of her character in the sketch really saved it, because it was like, even though you're kind of fumbling for the right words, it was because she was so excited sexually or whatever. She was, it worked for the character.
Yeah, and it's kind of how you get when you're playing Taboo anyway. So like it didn't bother me. And
you're wrong, Nate.
And I feel like
that's okay,
because she didn't really have any issues as far as like flubbing lines or anything like that.
Exactly, it wasn't
and so I don't mind if you can catch them looking at cue cards, as long as they're not fucking up the delivery or like ruining the sketch.
What was it? Do me on this ugly couch.
Yeah,
it's a great line. Also, like, choke me.
Yeah,
like these random little things were great, right?
Yeah,
they were awesome.
I love the sketch.
And yeah, again, like, what did he throw? She throw at you? The dog.
Oh, our dog.
Wait, why were you on fire? Oh, we were crazy. We were in our 30s. There's just a lot. This is a very well. Who wrote this?
This was written by Mikey Day and Shooter Seno.
Yeah, this is brilliant writing.
All right, moving on. I will give you a spoiler alert. My least favorite sketch of the night. Morning announcements written by Mike DeCenzo and Jake Norwin. Two nuns played by Aubrey Plaza and Molly Carney deliver a school's morning announcements with help from students Andrew Dismukes, Marcelo Hernandez, and Sarah Sherman. This just never, for me, found its like I understood where the humor was supposed to lie. It never found it for me, though.
Aubrey Plaza was really funny in this sketch. I liked what she was doing, and she made me laugh. But Molly Carney, they were really off their game for this sketch. They kept having stilted delivery and like felt like flubbing lines, and they just really lost the rhythm of the sketch. It kept ruining it every single time for me. And
every time it got on track, they really did kind of take me out of it. But again, the premise here. And it should have been a really great sketch.
Honestly, it almost felt like a throwback sketch to like the 90s, I felt.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Is that just because of Mary Catherine Gallagher, though?
A little bit, but also because they haven't really done like, it also had like an NPR vibe to it too, because they're doing like a kind of like a radio show. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the delivery and timing was all way off, especially the ending with the Star is Born stuff. I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
That's what I'm saying, is it just seemed disjointed. It seemed like the nuts and bolts were there to be a good sketch.
Yeah.
It just seemed disjointed. It didn't seem like the students brought much to it.
No,
like,
there was no reason
I did like Sarah Sherman's little interjections, but like it wasn't anything to save the sketch.
Yeah, they were fine, but even her, like,
Aubrey Plaza's character dying.
Yeah.
And there's no heaven.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to start doing some weird shit with my life.
That's a funny premise. That is a funny
the
premise.
direction.
Yep.
And they should have leaned so hard into that.
For sure.
I'm going to start smoking crack. Like literally, I should have been going crazy with that.
That is a harsh realization as a nun, right?
Yeah.
So play that up.
Yes.
Right?
So again, who wrote this?
This was written by Mike DeCenzo and Jake Norwin.
So I'm sure, like, this is one of those things where the writing staff writes it, and then they watch it and they go, God damn it. You know, it could have been so much better if the delivery was better.
Yeah.
And again, it's a good time for us to say, we're idiots. We don't know anything. These
I know
writers are
everything
all smarter
you guys
than us. But we
would've
do
fucked it up
enjoy
totally.
we've watched so much SNL. We do enjoy the art of critique of them, but we also are humble enough to know that we're idiots.
No.
All right. Pre-tape, Megan 2.0. If you listen to our other podcasts, Go Flix Yourself, you know that we've talked about the movie Megan. And I hope you go to goflixyourselfpod.com and listen to that as well. But
and Bradford Oman had called the sequel
Brad
before
did
they
call
announced it.
We talked about the sequel and the threequel.
Yeah.
And the
Megan
forequel.
2.0.
Yeah.
Written
Megan 2.0. Yeah. it
Written
was
by Chloe
exactly.
Feynman, Jimmy Fowley, Jake Norwin, and Sierra O'Sullivan. Aubrey Plaza as Megan 2.0 with Chloe Feynman as Megan 1.0. Keaton Thompson, Michael Longfellow, and Bowen Yang played different characters. There's a cameo. There's a lot of cameos, by the way, this episode. There's just a ton of them.
Yes.
By Allison Williams, who stars in Megan. What did you guys think of this? This was a pre-tape, so they got to do some fun things with, design and these kind of things.
It was a lot of fun. Before the sketch, I had not become aware that Megan actually has become kind of
I didn't know that
fast
either.
gay icon, kind of like the Babadook became a gay icon.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it became.
I need to get better at my gay culture.
So yeah, but it was very funny too, putting the Megans inside of a gay club, and the way Bowen Yang was reacting to him was hilarious.
And then what's her name? Allison Williams comes in and is terrified, but then it's like, oh wait a minute, oh no, and she like flips her hair back, like, oh yeah, no, I wasn't that.
Hey, you were in Girls.
I
You got your
loved it.
ass eaten on
Yeah.
that show.
You're an ally, girl.
Yeah, and by the way, she did get her ass eaten on that show.
I assumed that was factual.
Yes, and they show it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's for another podcast. Well, I'm watching the girls' watch show. I don't know what you are. No, but this sketch, costume design.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I agree.
Talk about turning somebody into like spot on, right? Wow. Almost like a Heidi Klum Halloween costume. Really well done.
It was great. There was such a great turn of this. They found the right humor for this. It was wonderful.
She says
I really
homo,
loved this sketch.
and then she has to shut her down.
Yep.
And then the sassy one gets to say it again, and everyone's like, yeah, you said it.
You get to say it.
Yeah, I love it. Yep.
Because you're in LA. All right, moving on. Weekend update with Colin Jost and Michael Che. Weekend update anchors Colin Jost and Michael Che tackle the week's biggest news, like Joe Biden and Donald Trump's classified document scandals,
And whatever happened to the Staten Island ferry?
and a 118-year-old nun dying. So each episode, for our listeners, this, Brad Omen has something inside of him that lives deep inside of his heart that he knows whether or not Michael Che and Colin Jost had the
Appropriate level of banter.
Yeah, bromance, banter, love for each
Back
other in
and
that
forth.
episode.
Playfulness.
Yeah.
And Ben and I get to kind of guess whether or not he's going to say they did. And I've
what's your guess?
over the season and a half we've been doing this, I think I have Brad kind of nailed.
We
down
got
this.
we got a pretty good Brad-ometer on this one.
I'm going to say yes.
Me too.
Because I felt like they did.
Now, overall, is this the most connection they've ever had, or is this?
No, not the most they've ever had, but probably
But
the
this
most
is-
they've had this season.
And this
I'm
is
gonna
also
say.
probably if there's a Brad-ometer from 0 to 100, and 100 is the most they've ever had. I'm going to rate this about a 65 to 70.
I think that's a fair. I would even say even 70. Yeah.
All right, now we're
So
gonna run it over
All right,
Brad.
tell us how right or wrong
on
we
your,
are.
on your Brad-ometer from a 0 to 100.
I would say it's probably a little bit higher even.
Whoa!
Would you say we're right the
we
most
mid-
this
yeah,
season?
mid-
Yeah, this is definitely one of the best moments as far as their banter and laughing at each other's jokes and even laughing at their own jokes.
They were having fun.
They were having a lot of fun. They the most fun probably.
How much
they've had this
fun were
entire
they
season.
having?
They were having more fun than a bowl of cereal.
Wow.
For me, the jokes for the regular portion of Weekend Update combined with who they had at the desk for guests made Weekend Update the best part of the entire episode.
Right?
For sure.
Just honestly a wow factor.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
There was some great jokes in here, though. The one
Michael Che has the best delivery and then the best reaction to the audience.
because he doesn't care. He doesn't care, and he wants the groans. And I love a comedian that wants the groans.
Since Norm Macdonald, I haven't seen a Weekend Update anchor revel in a joke not getting all instead of a laugh.
And
He
again,
loves
we
it.
don't know if this is our last season. Maybe they'll keep on going. Who knows? Maybe they'll go to 50. I don't know. But it does seem like each season now
He's getting looser with it.
He's
He
getting looser and
doesn't
looser,
care.
and he just
and I
loves
am
it.
here for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am as well.
Great stuff all around from them.
I love there was one joke about Joe Biden and Donald Trump's the classified documents.
Yeah.
and he brings in the Hillary Clinton thing.
Yeah.
The Biden classified document scandal and the Trump classified document scandal are very different, but they do share one big thing in common. They both make Hillary Clinton want to blow our goddamn brains out.
I laughed so hard at that
It was a
because it
funny
was so
joke.
delivered.
It's
So
so
But her emails.
yeah.
I mean, but his delivery on that is
it's perfect.
fantastic.
And again, some great bits in this as well.
Yeah.
We'll get to those. Weekend updates. Colin Jost interviews Representative George Santos, written by Allison Gates, Ken Sublet, and Bowen Yang. Representative George Santos, again played by Bowen Yang, second time played by Bowen Yang in this episode, stops by a weekend update to address
And I would
allegations.
posit the better of the two.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
That he's lied about key details of his life. See, this is where I wanted. This is how I wanted them. I knew they were going to bring George Santos, right? It's a New York centric show. George Santos is a New York representative.
But also, he's just so like you got a person in the cast
Yep.
that can it kind of looks like him. You know,
Yeah.
you can make that connection, and you can really chew it.
Just ripe for comedy.
Yeah.
And
Just a
I thought
big,
the way
stupid
they
piece of shit.
did this, but the way they did this was great. And this was the comedy part about it, right? They went absurd in every element. They just took it to 10,
The end
right?
level, yeah.
I thought it was wonderful. I love this. Bowen Yang's probably gonna be doing this character
until George
more times.
Santos goes to jail, and even
Yeah, right.
Oh,
That doesn't happen.
I'm
with
still
him.
optimistic. It could.
I think my favorite part was he got the call from Madonna initially, and then pick up the COVID test. Hello, yeah, Madonna.
I'm not lying, okay? They made me take a lie detector test before I came in here. Look.
That is a COVID test.
Hold on, Madonna's calling me.
She's calling you on the COVID test? George, this has to stop. You have to stop lying.
I was half expecting Jost to be like, "That's positive." Bowen Yang is fantastic as him, and just man, he is so comfortable. You know, I won't say he's grown because he's always been really solid, but I feel like he's such a what a perfect cast member.
I think some people complain about him because they think he's always playing some variation of the same character, and I think that can be true. But I honestly think that there is a subtle differentiation between the kinds of gay characters that he plays, because he does play a lot of gay characters, but there's a certain level and like style of flamboyancy that he does that differentiates them, and it's like you have to really be paying attention and keyed into it, because like you hear him talk and you think it's the same, but like there's shades, different shades of it.
I would say
it for me that shows an ignorance of also gay culture.
I was going to say,
you know.
I
I think the same criticism could be made, though, if they wanted to, of a lot of the cast members.
Yeah, for
Kenan
sure.
Thompson.
Chris Farley.
Yep, Chris Farley.
No.
And so,
Never.
again, and when they do it well, we want it. We
It's a
talk
pass.
all the time
Yeah,
about
you get a
we
pass.
want Kenan to do Kenan stuff and Kenan sketches,
Yeah.
right? You just, and you know what you're going to get and you laugh still, because that's the formula that works. So I think that's an
not a fair-
unfounded
it's
and
not a fair
unfair
criticism.
critique of Bowen Yang, who is great. All right, moving on. We can update bit. April Ludgate and Leslie Knope on Working for the Government, written by Neil Casey. Amy Poehler and Celeste Yim, local government employees. April Ludgate, played by Aubrey Plaza, and Leslie Knope, played by Amy Poehler, stop by Weekend Update to discuss Working for the Government. As a fan, a loyal fan of Parks and Rec, I loved every second of this.
They haven't aged.
Amy Poehler
It's-
looks great.
It's scary how much they still look like those characters, though. Like, that's crazy. Like, it just took the hairstyles and they're back in it.
And this didn't serve Aubrey that well. I mean, this wasn't much to do with her character. She didn't have much to do in this, because I think it was just kind of an
setup.
on-ramp to
Yeah.
get Amy her own kind of, and she ate it up. She was
course.
so great.
Yeah. Well, I think my favorite part of this is like it wasn't just an easy nostalgia grab, or like just because, hey, look, it's these characters. Like, they stayed true to the characters
Yep.
and wrote them as if they were appearing on SNL as
Yep.
themselves. And like the focus wasn't really them trying to do bits; it was mining them for comedy as their characters. So like you have April, and she's doing the thing where she's just very like whatever about
Disinterested.
everything.
Like, Talent Joe's being weird.
Yeah, exactly.
He's talking about like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and Leslie Knope comes in. She's very enthusiastic, like exactly how Leslie Knope would be if she was on SNL.
Once everybody like, oh yeah, I'm fine, but like, I want to pick your brain about this.
Yeah,
Like,
and especially, and I loved the detail where like they have her do a joke,
Yep,
and she
the mean
passes
jokes.
over the ones
Oh,
like, no,
that's
these are
too
too mean.
mean.
These are too mean. Yeah,
Yep.
and then she
Which
picks
is
one
a
about
very
puppies.
Leslie Knope thing.
Yeah, just perfect.
But
Perfect.
yet, when she told the joke, it made me reminiscent of Amy Poehler telling jokes.
yeah.
And
on the Weekend
I
Update.
don't know that she has ever. it's a character. Obviously, she doesn't necessarily change her inflection or her delivery of what she does as Leslie Knope from Amy Poehler as a person. There obviously is a character, but I felt like she did drop the act slightly and just delivered like Amy Poehler used to on SNL, and I really like that too, because that was the one time where she wasn't necessarily being Leslie Knope. Doing that one joke was Amy Poehler telling the joke. And
It sounded like Amy Poehler
Yeah.
did when she was behind the
she
desk.
really did kind of snap it.
And it made me say,
Oh.
I'm ready for an Amy Poehler episode.
Yes.
I don't know when the last time
Let's
she's hosted.
get-
I think the last time she hosted was when she did it with Tina Fey, right?
I think
they
so.
co-hosted.
Yeah,
And I'd give
Blades
her
of
her own
Glory.
episode.
Blades of Glory just came out, so she should probably host.
I would love to have
I'm not
her
joking,
host.
nobody else.
I miss her, and I realized it when she
I'm
was there.
rocking one leg. I don't give a shit. Favorite character.
All right, moving on. There's a new movie out that's an indie film called Avatar, and they decided to kind of play on this.
Never heard of it.
Avatar, written by Heidi Gardner, Martin Herlihy, John Higgins, and Ben Marshall. Jake Sully, played by Mikey Day, who I think Mikey Day had something this episode. He's the 29th cast member of all time to reach 500 sketches. So only 29 cast members of all time have reached 500 sketches. Been in Mikey Day is that member. So Jake Sully, played by Mikey Day, and other Na'vi, Kenan Thompson, Ego Nwodim, Sarah Sherman, and Devin Walker try to identify the Sky People who have infiltrated their group. I have not seen the latest Avatar, but you didn't need to, because this was silly and it was great set design. It was a funny
Great
premise.
makeup too.
Wonderful costuming. I laughed quite a bit on this one, actually.
This
it was
was-
silly enough for me.
Yeah,
it wasn't the best sketch, but I laughed quite a bit.
No, I thought it was really funny, and especially because like it feels like they combined like what would have been probably maybe two weaker sketches by themselves. Like you could easily take the quote, butch women from Arizona and have them in a sketch that has nothing to do with Avatar, but having them in a like they combined it with the idea of how ridiculous the human Na'vi hybrids look
Yep.
with on the villain side in the movie, and so you combine that and you have just this great sketch that comes together because they kind of look like the human Na'vi villains in the sequel that is out in theaters now, but making them these butch women from Arizona adds a whole other level of comedy.
Also, there's a technical issue with this, where her Aubrey Plaza's ear falls off, and they cut away, and they have to for a minute to like kind of, and people start kind of breaking a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the times where instead of it making it stilted and awkward, it actually improved things because they were now having the time of their lives in the sketch.
Yeah. And one of the things that I was
It's like when Brendan Gleeson's blood stuff happens, right? Where you just kind of you let it go and
let it
people
go.
start having fun. Yep.
Yeah, they were the vaping.
yeah,
It's so funny.
everything they were doing, they had these like
They
characters
had him nailed down. Also, even in that character, still attracted to Heidi Gardner.
Actually, I was gonna say my new sexual preference is Sarah Sherman dressed as a Na'vi.
Yeah, I did. Mine is Kenan Thompson. So
You guys are so weird.
But no, and also the one surprising thing and very cool thing to see at the end of the sketch is when they do that thing where they pan away and you see the set and everything.
Love it.
All of the
light.
bodysuits and the makeup was all in orange, and they made them blue with the lighting
lights,
on the
yeah.
set, which was crazy cool.
also, for a sketch to actually have a twist. It's
Yeah,
not,
it was a great
not
ending.
Normal,
It was a great
you know?
ending.
So they actually knew how to end it because it ended up being Kenan Thompson as the sky person or whatever,
Yep.
along with the other two, whatever. But still, that's great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Like basketball.
Again, what I enjoy about
Jake
these
Sully
types,
for real would have caught that basketball though.
what I enjoy about these types of sketches is it took so many of the departments at SNL
Yes.
to come together to pull this off, and when it all works out well, it's just beautiful.
It was
So,
a very, and again, set design, everything from makeup and hairstyle. I mean, my goodness. Also, this is right after Weekend Update.
Yep.
So Kenan and the rest of the cast got all the time in the world to get made up.
Mhm.
And Aubrey Plaza, they did that to her. How long would that have been? A 3-minute commercial break?
It's usually like 4 or 5 minutes for the
But still,
commercial break.
5
But-
minutes
But
to
yeah,
go
no,
from
but
that
yeah,
to- I mean, it's
no,
incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on. HIV commercial written by Rosebud Baker and Michael Che. A straight man, played by Devin Walker, is uncomfortable filming an HIV commercial with Aubrey Plaza as the director and Mikey Day and Marcelo Hernandez as two fellow actors. I don't know if this is true or not, but was this Devin Walker's first real sketch where he was kind of the featured comedic character?
I mean, where he was like the key role.
Yeah,
but
I
most
feel like
speaking
that
lines,
where
for sure, yeah.
it was the one, he was the one bringing the actual premise of the
Yeah.
comedy. Mikey Day had some things there too, but it was really Devin Walker, trying to carry the sketch.
Devin Walker interacting with the host, right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what the comedy was. And they did a good job of escalation. It kept getting worse and worse for him, which is great.
And I like the additional like aside of like her always like taking the piss out of Mikey Day's dancing too.
Yeah, that was great. And then also just I do like when sketches they add something really weird and that they wouldn't need to add, but it does work. Like the hot salad.
Yeah.
It worked for me. Like, right? There's enough going on with this sketch where this shouldn't have been a very good sketch. And I really did laugh a lot about everything in it. Like all the parts kind of work together.
Yeah.
And especially when Hernandez's character, just did a normal job. And honestly, I saw him like pouring the shots and it was okay. And just like, again, crushing it.
Yeah.
And when it was just kind of not great and normal, it worked.
Now, Devin Walker in this sketch says something better, and I wanted to get your opinion. As the elder statesman of this show and significantly older than Brad and I, do you know what Cap meant when he said
Yes. I have, basically quasi nephews that are 15 and 17. And we've had the Cap conversation. And they let me know that, hey, when you say no cap, you're not lying. I will say, true to form, 41-year-old Ben, he said cap, and the audience laughed immediately. It took me about 2 seconds to laugh along. Oh, because he's lying, is what I yelled.
All right, moving on. The last sketch of the night, the 10 to 1.
10 to 1.
Film
Which means nothing anymore.
No, it doesn't mean anything. Film noir written by Neil Casey and Celestium. And an old fake black and white film, a woman played by Aubrey Plaza is accused of murdering her 80-year-old husband, James Austin Johnson. By the way, who's made for these sketches?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Plays the detective. Sharon Stone cameos as Plaza's character's mother. Sharon Stone was also, I think, in
The second Sam Smith thing.
which was the oddest thing
Like,
I've
she
ever
was kind of
seen.
basically like a living statue during the performance.
So for the first time ever, I watched one of two of. I skip the music every. I'm sorry, I do,
I usually watch a few seconds, see if I like the
Me-
song.
yeah, me too.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm good.
but I have not in the last year. I've done it, Brad. I've watched the first few seconds and then always skipped. The only exception to that is when Lizzo is on.
Yeah.
And now this one with Sam Smith, the first one, with these because of the visual
Yeah.
of the enormous puffy. I was like, I got to see what this is, and I'm so glad that I stayed. It was so fun.
Yeah.
So I will say, musical guest Sam Smith knocked it out of the park. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't have seen this if it wasn't for my girlfriend Brittany, because she loves Sam Smith and she wanted to see both musical performances in full.
So if you're for some reason do what we do and skip the musical performance this time, go back and at least watch the first one, and then just watch the second one just for weird Sharon Stone.
Yeah, the second one was a bit strange. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, odd, but like her performance.
The song was also very like monkish,
It
right?
was,
Very like
yeah,
chanty,
very religious.
and I kept on waiting for like, okay,
drop the beat now.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, oh, that's just the song.
Yeah.
Like,
Nope,
and then
never.
you just have Sharon Stone like blossoming out. Like, it was
And it's funny because you don't even realize it's Sharon Stone until
No.
like halfway through, because
No.
it's a profile shot of her laying
Yeah.
down, and then finally when she turns over and you
Like,
get a
what?
close up of her, it's like, oh shit, that's Sharon Stone.
Every single person knows it. Is that fucking Sharon Stone?
Everyone-
And
you
they
see
had
people
to,
like-
they had to tell everybody Sharon Stone will be. You can't say, is that Sharon Stone out loud? Okay.
And again, I've got nothing against Sharon Stone, great actress, but
so
she's also had
strange.
some work done. So I'm like, is that Sharon Stone or not? And so
And then the last photo of Aubrey Plaza in
Yep.
the bumper was her as the actress
From Star
Sharon
Wars.
Stone from Basic Instinct. Okay, you know what? I was just trying to.
all that to say, so we
the-
talked
the
about
noir.
Sam Smith,
Yeah.
film noir. What did you guys think of this sketch?
I don't know. I mean,
It was
it's
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
fine.
hard. It was
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a great role for James Austin Johnson.
They did. So this is a
Who
thing where
didn't
it's
have
like,
a big role this
No,
episode?
they had almost nothing to say with this. It's like
Yeah.
there's I can't remember one line from it. I can't remember anything other than like the struggle he gets shot at the end, and it's kind of awkward the way it ends. And then Sharon Stone comes in for big applause. Okay.
Yeah, it just kind of just felt like it was there.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it was just okay. Nothing great. All right. So each episode, if you're listening, we always ask you online as well. So we'd love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well.
And
We
and
also
YouTube.
have a YouTube channel. Yep.
Honestly, and let me just real quick, and don't cut this. Nate, you're doing an excellent job. Like Nate Laux is responsible for these small little clips of the show on YouTube with these honestly amazing visuals. Like the Megan thing that you did.
That was for other episode, but for other podcasts.
Oh,
Go
sorry, I
fix yourself.
apologize.
Yep,
Yeah,
but,
let's go. But you're starting to do more and more with this, and honestly, they're really, really well done. And I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
hey, you have my heart, buddy. Thank you.
Sorry.
All right. So again, we'd love to hear from you as well. But we talk each episode about who our MVP was, so who we think did the best this episode, but also our favorite sketches. Oftentimes we agree, sometimes we don't. So let's talk a little bit about what our favorite sketches were. Actually, before we get there, I have a couple things to say about this. What did you think of Aubrey Plaza as a host, as a whole?
I thought she was pretty good for the most part. You know, it's she did a wide variety of things. She fits in easily with the cast. She knows comedy well. I was worried because her monologue was so strange, but it feels like it's only weird when she is being herself, which it sounds
that sounds mean, but
yeah, it sounds mean. I don't mean it in a mean way because I like Aubrey Plaza. It's just her manner of speaking.
It's so hard to disassociate.
Strange. Yes.
It is.
So, but she's great as an actress, and especially when it comes to comedy. So yeah, I thought she was really good.
Anytime a host just doesn't screw up the lines, because it's hard. You're being thrown into this thing and you have to read cue cards and be on, hit your mark and look this way and remember to stir the yogurt when you're given the line. She did all the things correctly. That being said, it wasn't an Oscar Isaacs performance where the character work was out of this world or anything crazy, but she did a serviceable job. And I was in the Taboo sketch, she did enough for me to be like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, 7.5 out of 10.
We have had some good hosts, right? Some great hosts, even.
Yes.
Miles Teller did well. Brendan Gleeson did well this season. Keke Palmer did well. Austin Butler, right?
Keke Palmer didn't do well.
Yeah, she was great.
Keke Palmer was incredible.
Yep. Austin Butler. Again, all of our Austin Butler fans that have found us on SNL, we will not say an ill word about Austin Butler.
I'm so sorry that I said that the sketch with him with Sarah Sherman as Jewish Elvis didn't do well.
When you compare it to some of those, I don't think she stacks up to there.
No.
I think she did fine, though. I have a hard time with Aubrey Plaza. I love her as an actress, and I love Parks and Rec. I've got nothing against her. But
yeah, after you said that, I'm going to revise it. 3 out of 10.
And
Wow.
I have a hard time with the same thing you said, taking her seriously sometimes because the
snark level is 5,000.
Yeah, and I don't think she's trying maybe to give snark. I also think it's a nervous thing for her. She reverts
default setting.
Yeah, to this kind of nervous, because that's kind of her character in Parks and Rec a little bit. It's like this, she doesn't like people, but also there's anxiety behind it. There's, nervousness.
Yeah,
she's shyness kind of.
She doesn't like people is because she doesn't think they'll like her.
Yeah, and so, I struggle with that. I thought there were moments, I think of when she went behind the stage and answered the phone and did that funny voice, the British voice, where she was silly, and there was a lot in there.
That's where she peaked for you?
For me, no, I thought I wanted to see more of that. Like, I always love it when hosts come on, and they are like Brendan Gleeson, who are serious actors, and they come in and they do these great things, but they also give their best. They're silly. They submit to the show fully.
When Brendan Gleeson did the thing where they were all graduating high school, and he's supposed to be like a 17-year-old boy, but it's Brendan Gleeson who looks like a 90-year-old alcoholic in that sketch.
Yep.
That's what you want. You want outside the box,
Yeah, and so I didn't see a ton of that from her.
Right.
But again,
what was your favorite sketch that she was in?
So let's do sketches of the night. I had a hard time. I thought there's some good sketches. I would probably, because I have not picked this out yet.
Taboo is the answer.
Taboo is the right answer.
Really? I was going to say HIV commercial because I actually really liked
good,
that
but
one.
It was on ketamine, on fire.
Yeah.
Wait, was she on fire?
The thing about the Taboo commercial that got me was, again, her looking at the cue cards. That was bothering me. I don't know why.
No.
It's just,
No.
It's taboo.
It's taboo. So who's your MVP, Brad?
I think that my MVP is Bowen Yang.
because of the cold open?
Yeah, exactly. Only because of the cold open.
Yeah, wow.
No, I think it's. But I will say, I feel like I'm close to giving it to Chloe Fineman too, because
She was great.
her Jennifer Coolidge was great, and it had a good purpose this time in the White Lotus sketch. She was really funny in the Miss Universe sketch. She's great as Megan. So maybe Chloe Fineman actually should be it.
I'm giving it to Mikey Day.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I had you repeat who wrote some things.
Yeah,
few times.
He did. a couple,
And I don't think that he gets enough credit as a writer.
Chloe Feynman did writing this.
No, I'm not taking anything away from her, but I thought that Mikey did his best to keep it on track.
Yeah.
The cold open, he's the one, I don't think it was his fault that it was stilted. I think he was trying to keep it on track. In a lot of
Mikey
sketches.
Day did write the taboo sketch as well.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I didn't even remember that. So the idea here is that he's in a lot, he's doing a lot, and he's keeping a lot on track, which a lot of times Keenan does save a sketch. And I don't think Mikey really saved any sketches, but he definitely kept pushing the barometer in the right direction.
Yeah.
Enough for me. And he was in a lot this
I think it's a good pick. I like Mike. I think Mikey Day was great in this episode.
I give it to Tony Hawk. No, I'm just
So weird.
I
It's
did give
such
it
a
to Chloe
weird-
Feynman because of the combination of her performances, because she did some great performances in this, and she wrote. So
And
she
you love
she helped
Scientology.
write
Megan.
Miss Universe. She helped write Megan. And so those two sketches together,
I think
she did really well.
those are all solid picks. I think.
So that wasn't the actual doll from Megan?
I also feel like we should talk about just real quickly, and really like hone in on how many cameos there were this episode.
Yeah.
It felt like there.
I have the list if you want.
Just as many cameos. I
Let me
think I
see
can remember them all.
No, okay. You
Yeah.
do one, I'll do one, you do one. Okay,
Okay, go.
Start, Brad.
Joe
And I'll
Biden.
mark them up. Okay,
Okay,
Joe
so
Biden.
so Joe Biden, I didn't even think about, right?
Yeah.
Sharon Stone.
Amy Poehler,
Property Brother number 1.
probably the number 2.
Tony Hawk.
Yep. That's it, right?
That's it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you guys name
Allison Williams. Allison Williams.
Oh shit! Yeah. See?
And then the 3 set designers, you got to name them too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so
but you look at just. I
as
mean,
many-
I include them because again,
and then again, all the pages, like you
I mean,
really
there-
did have
there were a
real
lot
people
of-
in the
I'm
show.
talking about famous people.
I know,
but
but
like
still.
think about it, like
Yeah.
the fact that like they got screen time and they're not famous.
no, but you're
But
right.
still they
Just
got
in the
screen time.
celebrities that they had on the stage.
It was as many.
The thank yous at night was like 7 of them.
It was as many celebrities as you have when you do a 5-timer sketch
Yeah.
for the cold open. You know,
So again, then does anybody know why?
it feels like just the timing of everything.
I
The most-
really want to know why the Property
obviously
Brothers.
Allison
and Tony Hawk-
Williams.
that's the most random stuff.
Right.
Those are the 3 that I was like, what the fuck? Why?
It's
So,
yeah.
do you think
or
it's-
Sharon Stone? What was she in something? Right now?
I think Sharon Stone. I think it's because like that's a Sam Smith thing. I think just because she was there, they put her in a sketch.
Also, I wonder if they had they got feedback that like having Jeff Probst randomly be in something is like, oh well, we should just get
We need
random
more
people,
reality shows.
just random people in, and maybe Tony Hawk and the Property Brothers were in town, and it's like whatever. Tony Hawk had a skateboard at the Good Nights, and he put it down on the floor, and I go, is he gonna ride that thing?
That'd be great. I would love to see him ollie off the main stage.
Do you guys know the names of the Property Brothers?
Frank and Borscht,
No, it's
Brandon.
Justin and Michael Bub.
It is not.
I don't know. Why would I know that?
It was because they are famous.
Brandon and Franklin Property.
It's Jonathan.
Oh, of course it is.
It's Jonathan
Jonathan and Justin Hakes.
and Drew
Jonathan and Drew Property.
What? What's their last name?
Scott.
Boring.
Great Scott.
Well, one of them, Jonathan, is dating a very famous person that's been on SNL a couple times. Who is it?
Victoria Jackson.
Anna Kendrick.
Nope. Zoe Deschanel.
Oh.
They've been together since 2019.
And he's, interested in her manic pixie dream house.
All right, coming up, we'll have another new episode next week. Who's the host? Brad.
Michael B. Jordan
Famous
Bringing with
basketball
him
player.
Scottie Pippen. Yeah.
is the musical guest. Scottie Pippen's getting really into saxophone, and he is crushing it.
First time Michael B. Jordan ever been on SNL. Are you excited?
I think that this is kind of like a Daniel Craig pick, where he's a very serious actor.
Very good actor.
I don't know that I've ever seen him
He's
really
in some comedy. He did.
do
He was in
serious
that.
comedy.
Yeah, he was in that movie with Miles Teller and Zac Efron, that awkward moment, and he's funny.
Oh, see, I never saw that.
He can be funny.
I am looking forward to this because I think that he really will commit. Much like, these serious actors that really go for it. I'm really hoping for, honestly, like an Adam Driver type performance where he takes his serious stuff and just runs with it for comedy. I love that. I love that
He
idea.
was also in the 2015 comedy Fantastic
Just Mercy.
Four. Fantastic Four.
sorry. That's a funny.
You stole my joke, but
Sorry,
it
yeah,
was
sorry,
a better.
sorry. Yeah, because Just Mercy is a good movie. So.
It is.
Damn. Cold.
I am very excited about this. I think he's going to be great. I hope he lets go.
I know.
I hope he gets silly.
I want him to do characters. I want him
Yep.
to be weird. Like we all
Do
guys,
whatever impression you have. Bring it.
Future SNL hosts that are listening to this, guys,
They're all.
you're all
listening.
listening. Chris Hemsworth, follow his lead. Go silly. Do it.
Chris Hemsworth does go silly. He's like a really good host.
No, I said follow his lead. Like future
But
hosts that are not.
it's not like you were saying Chris Hemsworth.
Michael
followed his lead.
Michael
Chris
B.
Hemsworth.
Jordan needs to follow his lead.
Yeah, okay.
Chris
I thought
Hemsworth.
you were telling, again,
Yeah.
because this doesn't make sense, Ben.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking
All
about.
right, let's start over. Much like Chris Hemsworth, you should follow his lead.
No, I'm leaving that in. All right.
So follow his lead like Chris Hemsworth.
You know what?
Crims?
Be like
Crims
Chris
Hemsworth?
Hemsworth.
Crims Hemsworth.
Cri-
That's the fourth Hemsworth brother.
Be like Crims Hemsworth.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Listen to our other podcasts as well. Go Fix Yourself. We put a new episode of that every week. So in between new episodes of the 10 to 1, we've got that. You can also go to our 10 to 1 podcast website at 10to1.com, 10to1.com, somewhere in there. Google us, you'll find
Awesome.
it. Hold on. Let me actually find that.
We should know what the name. You know what? Go to Meyer.com and search /podcast 10.
It's actually, I did look it up,
Okay, what is it?
which is fine. I did the website, so I should know this. The 10to1.com. So go to the 10to1.com.
And is it the words all spelled out?
What-
Or is it the
what do you-
numbers?
No, it's not numbers. I don't do numbers. It's-
No, I mean, like, it's a legitimate question because, like, if you put in
No,
the
it's
number
the,
one,
it
the
is,
number
I
zero,
understand, but no, I do it.
Don't
it's
act like I'm asking a bad
no,
question.
No, no. Dude, fine. Hey. TheTenDoone.com.
There you
all
go,
right,
there you go.
you can find it, and you can go back and listen to our past episodes.
The
as well.
Tatooine.com.
I love it when we spell out websites.
I
My
know.
favorite part of the podcast.
And GoFlixYourselfPod.com. Brad, please spell it for us. So, where can people find you online, Brad?
Oh.
Always on Twitter at Ethan_Anderton. The site is still going somehow. And also on slashfilm.com where I write reviews of new episodes of SNL on Sunday mornings, maybe the afternoon if I get up late. And
So they're always in the afternoon.
yeah, and if you're interested in movies and stuff like that, check out our coverage of the Sundance Film Festival right now. It's happening through this week, and we're watching a lot of indie movies. So check that out, and feel free to check out our year-end coverage of some of the best movies of 2022 over there as well. slashfilm.com.
Nate, where can people find you, buddy?
You can find me at Nate Loucks, just LOUCKS. Find me online. I'm Twitter, Facebooks, all of the above. Not on TikTok,
No,
but
that's okay.
I am on TikTok, but I don't do anything because I don't
You're a
understand
lurker.
it.
You don't
there's
get
some
it.
there's some funny comedy. On
I'm
the
an
TikTok.
adult male, so I watch the TikTok as God intended as an Instagram
Do you want to
reel.
start a TikTok dance account with me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week in our next episode. Again, review this podcast, rate us, share it. If you're a fan of SNL, please let your friends know and be a part of the conversation online on Facebook and Twitter.
No, it's the pitching the tent to one.
It's too late. All right. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye-bye.